My name's Saul Richmond-Rakerd. I play the cello. I'm originally from Michigan. I've been out here in San Francisco for coming up on 8 years now. With some pit stops along the way. But yeah, I grew up in a relatively musical family, except for my dad, but he claims to be the music lover in the family, so that works. What else to say? My sister's a great violist. My mom, my mom's an amateur cellist. Always wanted to play the bass growing up, personally, but she made me play the cello. But I think I thanked her for that later in life.
How did you come up to the cello?
Well, my public school growing up had a great 5th grade strings program where they hooked you up with an instrument for a year, see what you were interested in, and if it stuck. And me and my buddy were going to play the bass and hang out in the back and be the cool guys in the 5th grade string orchestra. But Mom said no, and she got Miss Kessler, who at the time was a very terrifying older music teacher to me, who I later learned was just a sweetheart, to come to my house and scare me into playing the cello, basically. And it was very effective. She was very scary and convincing, and that was it. I grew to love the cello and never looked back. Yeah.
And
I didn't go to college for music, actually, so I kind of went full-time after college, though I played during college, so I kind of made the full-time commitment later on. Yeah, so I guess I didn't have to make that goal.
and
I guess my very first music teacher was my piano teacher when I was 6 until all the way through high school, named Marjan Helms, and just a wonderful woman that was a good family friend and very kind of one of those great teachers that's like an older adult who will value every thought that a young kid has and really take you seriously, which I think is really inspiring as a young musician and makes you feel empowered and important. And she was great for me, and she pops into my head. And then probably my cello teacher in high school, Andrea Yun, was an awesome teacher for me, and was kind of like younger, more buddy teacher, and we had a lot of fun. I guess the normal week is that there's no normal week. You're probably hearing this from a lot of us while we're talking today, but that's kind of the fun part, is particularly as a freelance musician, that every week is different and you're always tackling a different project and always a little bit on a backward schedule, but all over the Bay and meeting interesting people. And I think that's probably why a lot of us love it, because music travels so well. And yeah, so I don't know, I guess mornings kind of more me time, practicing admin work at home, and teaching in the afternoons, and rehearsing and performing in the evenings type of thing. Yeah. Of chamber music in particular, it's very intimate. It's a very intimate form of performance, I think, more so than solo performing even, or orchestral performing, which have their own draws. You know, there's nothing like the powerful feeling of playing in an orchestra and being on the same page as 80 to 100 other musicians. But in chamber music, you have such individual agency, but also this symbiotic relationship with the other people you're playing with and with the audience, because you're always playing in smaller spaces and bouncing your energy off of them. And I find that very rewarding in a different way. Yeah.
how would you describe the role of a cellist in a chamber music group?
Ooh, good question. Well, obviously I'm biased, but for me it seems like the most fun role, because we get to do a little bit of both. We get to be in a string quartet or a trio, get to be the foundation, the sound foundation of the group, the lowest notes, but we always kind of get our moments to come out and be the diva and blossom and have our melodies. So it feels like we get a little bit of the best of both worlds sometimes. Yeah. My cello is, I got it, I guess, 3 years ago now. It's an Old English cello, about 200 years old, but some old joker put a fake Italian label in it back in the day to try to sell it for more money. So it's an anonymous cello that they think they knew more or less who made it, and the people who can do those things are amazing just by looking at the shape of the cello and the varnish, and what they can tell within a decade and where it was. But but yeah, I don't know exactly who, but someone in London, early 1800s made this thing. Yeah.
And so now,
Well, musically, I mean, just knowing the people who are involved, I think it'll be a really fun adventure. Anytime you can start something like this, where you're friendly with everyone involved and you're really close with everyone involved, it's great. But even the unique thing about this group, with the kind of the different pairings and fusions and art combinations and different ways in which we're shedding light on the type of music we're playing, I think is unique and exciting. And yeah, I can't wait to see what we come up with. Hmm. I think the city has like a more casual interaction with music, which I don't mean in a disparaging way. It's like it's something that should be for the people. So I think you notice this in house concerts, or I play a lot of concerts on the street, and people just treat it as part of what used to be more common in San Francisco, just part of everyday life, having house concerts or people playing music everywhere. And at least here, I've never had as many people comfortable coming up and talking directly to you about their relationship with what you just played or with music in general, which I find really cool. And I think the musical roots of San Francisco are strong. And yeah, you see that, I think, with your interaction with the audience.